So this is actually round 2 because I just recorded this and realized my microphone wasn't on. Anyways, we are going to be talking about balance today. We are talking about balance, and I have some notes pulled up, so that's why I'm going to be kind of peeking over this way. But we're going to be talking about balance because there has been just a lot of stuff happening. I feel personally, I'm feeling it as an agent, and I'm sure you guys may be experiencing something similar. Like the second week of January was just popping off, right? And then I felt like, I don't know, I felt like everything was falling apart over the last week. And then I was like, no, let's bring this back. And then, just kind of where things are, like we just had, the new president go into office. We had this whole craziness with TikTok and CapCut and other apps that were affected, and, they took it away, brought it back. Like, it was just like a lot. And I personally like to feel like I'm in control of my life and my business and don't want to be in or controlled by apps. And it's unfortunate, but that is like the reality and the world that we live in 2025. So with that being said, I want to go into like talking about like your work-life balance with life and real estate, because it's a lot. Like, I don't know if anyone else is like me who has children, even just one, and you're trying to manage the schedules, you're trying to manage your life, your business, you are, wanting to show up consistently doing the things that that's going to move the needle in your business, right? So just all of that. Like, and I think that it comes with setting clear boundaries with your clients. I feel like in 2025, like you really have to be super stern with a lot of sellers and lay the law down, and know what you're willing to accept and not accept in your business. So I think, that just comes with time, I think, also because I remember being a new agent and I kind of like, just tried to catch the vibe, right? Like, okay, hey, are they a little bit more aggressive? Are they more relaxed? But I know when you are a listing agent, you have to set the tone in the standard of practice for yourself and for the seller, setting proper expectations of what is expected of them versus what you will provide. Like that we're no longer in the days where you just take a listing and put on the MLS and it sells. Like that is long gone. We have longer days on market now, just all the things. However, I did put an offer in over the weekend, but it was for vacant land and it was at Jack's Beach and it was actually a really good deal. And there was one other offer on the table. So I was like, what in the world? But I told him, let me know about if that property comes back on the market because it has fallen out of contract previously. So I digress. Going back to work-life balance, like really just setting the standard and the tone for your business and for your client communication, what that looks like, what your working hours are. Like if if you're here on episode 3, like I'm going to need you to get like your Google My Business set up. If you haven't already, please get verified, like please. So that way you can, even though you can still lose access to your Google My Business account, which I feel like might be very far few in between. I've only heard one person tell me that they lost access or lost all of their reviews from there. So, but I say all that to say is I don't want to be controlled by apps like TikTok, etc. Even though I'm a big Instagram girly, like I fear that, but get your email list building on, like I have been, and I hope you are too. Get everyone's email list or emails. Moving on, setting those boundaries, but I'm going back to the Google My Business just because, just like you're setting hours on there for your availability, like why are we not setting real life hours with our clients? Like if you're not doing that, like I'm going to need you to practice that or start doing that, implement that into your business like ASAP, because like we shouldn't be answering or taking calls at 10 p.m., unless you really just want to work 24/7. I remember giving birth in the hospital to my very first son and was taking a call like after I gave birth, even though I truly love real estate, right? But there should be no way that I just had my first child and I'm taking a freaking phone call about going under contract on new construction. Like, should not even be happening. But they kept blowing me up too. So, but I also didn't have the systems in place, hence, Yasha 10 years ago, right? So moving on from that though, that's really going to be just doing a lot more time blocking and prioritizing what matters to you most, whether if you have goals per quarter, for the month, goals for the week, like prioritizing those things and also prioritizing the life you want to build by design. Like you don't have to be haphazard and just like, okay, wake up, what do I do? And then like just like scramble to figure it out because you're like draining your mental energy from that. And it's just chaos and confusion. So with that being said, I have shifted my mindset a lot around how I'm building out my weeks and my days and my months in the quarter because I always used to look at time blocking where I was building my life around my business versus the other way, building my business around my life. So whether if that's for example, like on Mondays and Wednesdays, like I have to pick up one of my children early from school to take him somewhere else for additional tutoring. And so on those days, like I know that I have to stop meetings by 1 p.m. And that's like, I know you might be like, oh my gosh, like seriously? But I do maximize like my time, like during the day, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays, like those are like, that's like game time for me. Like that's why I'm not taking like lunch meetings and doing things like that during the earlier part of the week because I'm prioritizing a lot of the lead gen and tasks that I need to do to set up my week to also be successful with, meeting new clients or whether if it's going to networking stuff or whatever. I'm doing those types of activities on Thursday or Friday, not both, but Thursday or Friday. And I think that huge mindset shift around building my life around my business was like something that was so foreign. Like I was like, why was I doing it the other way? Like, and I think it was because I personally was on the grind for so long because when you're a new agent, you're like, I'm going to make it. I am not going to be a statistic where I end up going to get a job or to exit the industry and not be doing this because I truly love real estate and I hope you do too. And so really building your life by design. I just want to like stress that a little bit more. Moving on, what has really helped me coming into 2025 was hiring virtual assistants because man, that is a game changer. Like, I don't know why I was operating like by myself. Like, why do we do that? Why do we do that? Like, because there's no need. I think from past experience, like I've hired virtual assistants in the past, but it just never worked out for me because I didn't have the right tools in my toolbox, meaning like I didn't really have like SOPs in my business and I didn't have standard operating procedures if you don't know, but I didn't have SOPs in my business and I didn't have we didn't have the technology that we have today. Because now you can like screen record videos and send them to your virtual assistant and they can complete those tasks for you. There's task management software out here like Monday.com and Asana and just all kinds of things where you can create those daily tasks for someone and attach a video to it. Like this, it's like almost foolproof. But the part that always hindered me in the past was the upfront energy and work that I had to put in to build those things out. But for some reason, before I went to Rise in October, I shared this with my good friend Jazz, and that was that I was going to be hiring a virtual assistant. Like I had one, but they were also locally here in the States. And I was like, nope, I'm moving away from that. And then I'm going to hire someone overseas because I know I can get a lot further with the pay. They're going to be hungry to work and just all the things. And I can add new tasks to them without or without it being like a la carte and any of that. So that was a huge plus, but you have the somewhat a language barrier almost, like from the comprehension level. But it's not actually that bad because if you spell it out on a standard operating procedure and also reiterate it with recording a screen recording, because you can have yourself on the screen, like, and you can show them like, hey, okay, this is where I want to log in. This is what I need you to do here. And this is how often it needs to go out, and just all the things like that makes a huge like difference in my business because I'm able to do that. And if I were you, if you're a new agent or getting started, like start creating SOPs and also start thinking about outsourcing eventually. Like it doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. Like if you just got in the business, it can literally be, 6 months from now or a year from now. But whatever you're doing on a day-to-day level, like start documenting that and creating a folder. I highly recommend loom.com. That's LOOM.com. This video is not sponsored by them because it is a software that you just sign up for. And what you're able to do on there is screen record. And there's so many other platforms that you could do that on, but I digress. I just want to touch on the point of delegating and leveraging help. And also what I have found is that our Real Agents Northeast Florida group has been so supportive. There's so many opportunities for, people to help with showings or to help with open houses or just whatever. Like, especially if we can lean on also like the newer agents too, to help them get experience faster, that would be amazing, right? So that has been a really good resource and why I'm so grateful for the community because, man, what we do, like, why would you want to operate a business by yourself? Like, lean on the people that are here doing the same thing. And plus, of course, we're like a very collaborative community as well. So that's a huge plus. Now, one thing that you may or may not do is self-care. Like, for example, and it could be something so simple like take a walk after lunch. Like, and it could be a 10-minute walk. Like, you don't need to go like pump some iron and hit the gym, 5 days a week. Like, it could be something as simple as scheduling 2 Pilates classes for yourself twice a week. Like, how hard is that? But prioritizing those, again, personal tasks, my life, because I'm building my life by design, and then building my business around it. So that way I'm taking care of me and I'm not neglecting myself, I think is super huge. So whatever self-care looks like for you, whether that's a massage, whether that's just like 30 minutes of quiet time by yourself to read or to just sit, like whatever that is, figure out what that is and put that on your calendar too. Put that on your calendar because I know what I've learned also is like having those reoccurring tasks, even though like, for example, Pilates, they only have like a 7-day rolling calendar. So immediately after, like I like going to the Thursday class at 6 a.m. So immediately after that Thursday class at 6 a.m., I am booking the next Thursday's class at 6 a.m. because I know like, okay, I have a little bit slower morning. I can kind of just like take my time. I'm not rushing to like come back home, take a shower, like go off to appointments. Like I can just have a slower morning that day. So that's what I do and how I prioritize myself over everything else. And then balancing family and personal life. So man, I don't know if you have more than one kid, raise your hand, please let me know because I think a lot of people always ask me, how do I do it? But I literally live and die by my Google Calendar. Because I have, so many things with school activities. I even prioritize like going to chapel with my children, my 2 older boys on Fridays. And I saw how important that was for them. And they were basically telling me like, hey mom, we want you to come to chapel and sit with us and, do our thing. But it took them telling me that. And so I was like, you know what, why is this not in my calendar? Like I had to really ask myself, I was like, why is this not in my calendar? Because I want to be there. Like I want to participate in those things with them on a weekly level at school and also kind of see what's going on in the school. Like, it's like you get into this routine of just dropping off your kids, but it's like, no, it's much more than that. Like, and I do like their school because they really do love the parent interaction and involvement. So, but to each his own. But just something simple like that, adding that to my weekly schedule is chapel at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Even though it ends at like 8:50, I just, 10 minutes to give myself time to get to the car or whatever, so give my hugs and kisses and say goodbye for the day. So prioritizing things like that. And then even like the weekends, because we are a blended family, I do have my bonus daughter. And so like this, for example, this coming weekend, we have her from Thursday through Sunday. And so I know that I try not to schedule like, a lot of activities for work because I want to spend that quality time with her and the rest of my family. And so there's a balance, there's a cadence, and just remember, like whatever season of life you're in, it may only really and truly be for just a season and for a short period of time. So it's okay. Like, it's okay. Just roll with the ebbs and flows of business and life. Because in real estate, there can be ebbs and flows. Like if you've been an agent, like I have, or just in general, if you've even had your license since 2020, like I remember it was just off the chart. And even leading up to that, it was off the chart. But then, times change. And so you just adapt to that and prepare for those things too. So going back to kind of like the virtual assistant aspect, it's because it goes hand in hand with the next point I have, which is systems for scaling without sacrificing balance. And that's taking the time to set up your SOPs and to start recording. Like it doesn't matter if you're the only person in your business, even if you have a transaction coordinator, because that's typically like the first person most agents hire is a transaction coordinator. And even though you're not paying them on an hourly basis, you want them to communicate with your clients and whomever else involved in the transaction for you or with you. And so like, what does that look like? How do you want that to look? So thinking about those things, I think are going to be super big, especially if you're just getting started or even if you're seasoned, a seasoned agent, like start documenting, start writing out those steps for your business. So that way it doesn't feel like you're starting over every single time. Again, I wish I would have known this 10 years ago. In just really creating like a file system and just staying organized within that, because it's so easy in real estate to let the chaos just take over your life. And it really doesn't have to. Like it really does not have to if you can start off with no files or anything and just have a process that you follow every single time. Yes, you can tweak it, but to follow a specific cadence every single time and to just add things when needed, like that's okay. And so I lean on a lot of my virtual assistants for that, in addition to my transaction coordinator. So if you're looking for one, let me know. I'd be happy to share who I use. Like they are truly full service and I can appreciate it. Like they've held open houses, I present them with open house opportunities as well outside of like the real Northeast Florida group and just all the things. They will help order signs, photography, just all the things. And there's so many great transaction coordinators out there, but I have been rocking with mine since 2020. The one that I'm with now since 2020. I don't even know if I said that right originally, but 2020. I've been rocking with them since 2020. And then this is kind of like the grandiose, like build up. And that's because we don't want to, we want to manage like the peaks and valleys of our business. So if you're in the market distillery, I'd love to know. And if you're not, and you're like, what the heck is that? Let me know as well. Because the market distillery really gives us a month to month view of what Northeast Florida is doing. Even if you're not in Northeast Florida, I know that Alex Stewart is looking to expand his market research for different areas of Florida. But if you are in Northeast Florida, I highly encourage you get involved in that group because he just really breaks down the numbers of what is happening? What are the trends? Why could this be happening? Are we having higher cash transactions right now versus like conventional loans or what have you? Like he's able to break that data down for us and even show what I really love is like seeing like where people are buying and selling at, like what's the highest sale in Jacksonville or Northeast Florida, and then like what are those like breakdowns for zip code, so that way like if you're farming an area that is not even having any type of activity, like yeah, it's great for you to farm that area, but like maybe we might need to also consider this other area or zip code as well. Like I think it just brings full circle, like so that way you can also on the flip side speak to sellers more knowledgeably, like hey, there were 75 transactions that happened in 32256 last month, like or whatever that is, and I'm just saying making that number up. But that just gives you like a high, like it shows you where the activity is in our market. And I just think it's really a powerful tool that's underutilized. So let me know if you're interested in signing up for that or want to learn more about that. I'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. So, but that helps manage going back to peaks and valleys. Like right now we're gearing up for the spring market. And so if you're, doing that like I am, that means you're going to be busy until about July, right? Like we have like we got the spring ramp up and then we have like the out of school and then like summer. And then it's like as soon as July hits every year, never fails, it like falls flat. Like at the end of like after July, like back to school time in August, like you can forget it if you haven't planned to have transactions close in August. So, that also helps you just prepare financially and also, when you can maybe plan your vacations and things like that when those those times make sense, because you may need to, plan to just be busy and working until July. And that doesn't have to be the case for everyone because no one said you couldn't take off, but just giving some food for thought and consideration. So when you are managing these peaks and valleys, like this is also what's going to help you be consistent in your business because you can be in control of those things. And then if you know like those daily, weekly, monthly activities that you're doing, going back to time blocking and what's most important, is it a priority? Does this meet my Q1, 2, 3, or 4 goals, annual goals? Is this in alignment? Asking yourself those types of questions, I think will make a huge difference. So slow and steady wins the race, right? Thank you so much. I hope you found these tips super helpful. Just maybe even just a friendly reminder for you to peek back at that calendar, because I don't know how anyone operates without a Google Calendar, because I think I honestly would go insane. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope to see you all next week. Or no, actually, I will see you all next week. Bye.